So because when I first started breaking, myself and the other two guys also just started breaking. So we had that common thread of being new to the whole thing and just being in the honeymoon phase of it all. It's so interesting. It's so new. We feel so cool. So we hung out outside of breakdance practice, and because we clicked, we wanted to start battling together. But that was the first time we actually got together and established that name. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I recommend, if one wants to get better at competing, start doing it immediately, regardless of how long you've been doing it, even if you've been doing it for a few days. Because practicing is a skill set. It's you working with your own brain, your own body, and on your own time frame to hone your craft. And that's practicing. When you compete, it's applying what you've learned. So using the competition as a milestone to test where you are is a different skill set, and you can get better and better and better at it. But the only way to get better at it is to do it. Some are the mindset that you have to wait X amount of months or learn X amount of moves prior to attempting to execute them on stage. And I don't agree with that mindset at all. I don't think it helps. Um, uh, the breaking scene can be quite aggressive. It started in the late 70s, early 80s. With inner city kids, black and Puerto Rican primarily, trying to use it as an outlet to just do something. It turns out it's a positive outlet, more or less. Also, multiple gangs would use it as their outlet instead of banging and instead of dealing or criminal activity. Um, in the hood in the Bronx, it was kind of your street pass. If you're like trying to get jumped for your shoes and you can break, it's like, oh snap, okay, you real, you know what's up. I missed my exit. Dang. um, so with that mindset, it's a lot of street mentality with OGs in the scene. So if you're a young breaker from a studio background trying to get into breakdance and you're excited, you will be met with aggression. And because of the nature of the dance, you have to challenge that with also being aggressive if that works for you. If you want to shrug it off and walk away, that's cool too. There are different approaches to this dance, and people get something different out of it. But I'll say for younger kids getting into the scene, expect retaliation and utilize that retaliation as motivation. Turn it into motivation for you to do better. It's not all kumbaya and holding hands. It really isn't. It's becoming more of that now because it's becoming more globalized, and everyone in the world is practicing it now. um, but yeah, I would definitely say expect retaliation from a lot of sources, and build your confidence and build your ego through competing, through practicing. One of the interesting and just astounding aspects of breaking to me is the origins of it and how it has evolved into today. For example, I have just a competition in particular where the competitors started fighting. So, yeah, it's dance. It's It's basically grown men dance fighting each other, except it turns into real fighting because your emotions get in the way and you don't have the emotional maturity to put it to the side. So the host is like, hey, hey, stop. But one of the judges in particular said, no, no, let him go at it. It's fine. And I'm like, what? So what happened is they did not end up fist fighting, although they did push, shove, yell, curse. They got back down to breaking almost immediately. And so it was verbal cursing, aggression, or whatever, but they respect each other enough on a dance tip that they can let the moves speak for themselves. And I thought that was a really neat roller coaster to watch, that transition. And you can't do that in ballet, can't do that in contemporary, can't do that in jazz, can't do that in bachata or tango or samba, but you can do that in breaking. So for kids who have been breakdance practicing at a studio in Zionsville or Fishers, when they see that, might not translate the same way as someone who grew up in the Bronx in the 80s. But that's okay because diversity is a spice of life. And the more you get accustomed to what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, what works for you, and how you can contribute to the scene as well as how you can gain from it, it all works well. It's all a huge mechanism with multiple cogs that, and every part affects the other parts. Yes, sir. It was a memorable experience for sure. Very scary for me. Lots of anxiety over how I would perform. I'm not just dancing for myself anymore. I'm dancing for the crew, and the whole concept of a crew was new to me as well. For example, and I didn't think about this at the time. I'm just like, yeah, we're repping the crew. I now, can think, okay, what does a crew mean to me? What do I gain from it? What do they gain from it? What's the purpose of it, et cetera, et cetera. But man, I had super anxiety because I really felt like my performance or my lack of success in executing my moves was the reason why we didn't perform well or didn't get past prelims. Really, it's just we sucked. And that is what it is. I, I can own up to that now. Um, right, right, right. I have had anxiety attacks, debilitating anxiety attacks, where my whole body just shuts down. I can't breathe. There's no oxygen flow, lightheadedness, and I need to go lie down. I've had anxiety attacks every single competition from 2007 until now. I know how to cope with them now. I did not know how to when I started. And that is definitely something to pass along to kids getting into it is that whatever personal issues that you have that you might not even know you have, you can analyze them and find ways to um, basically find ways to work through them through breaking. And I've definitely found how to do that with my anxiety. Air, please. So I keep derailing. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, Rocket Town. It was awesome. Yes, sir. Correct. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Not at first. At first, I was introduced to a lot of toxic traits within the breaking community. Uh, Sexism. I don't know what's the word. Machoism. Manny, manny, man, man. um, a lot of physically self-destructive practices. For example, real b-boys don't wear knee pads. That's for weak people. And like my knees are dead now, like. And I listened to them because I wanted to be a cool real b-boy, son. Um, but it wasn't until I moved to San Diego and out of the Midwest that I was introduced to a whole different, multiple different mindsets about how to approach breaking. My crew now, uncomfortably fresh, based out of San Diego, every single one of the members are really, really, really good people. And that's one of the prerequisites to being in the crew. Some crews, again, what's your purpose of being a crew? Some crews are you have to be super dope. You have to have won this many competitions. You have to keep it real. With Uncomfortably Fresh, number one, you have to be a good person. Even if you have went to jail, like that's not a representation of how good or bad you are. It means you probably made a decision that you shouldn't have. So number one, be a good person. Two, have life controlled before you have breaking controlled. So yeah, you want to be good, but if your life is a mess, like you don't need to be in the crew because that's going to bleed into crew. And number three, you have to be dope. You actually have to be skilled. And those three components, surprisingly, are very few. Be bro, be a good person, have your life together, be dope. And it doesn't mean like be a manager or high paying position at your job. It just means your chaotic lifestyle, you can't be in the crew. um, so with those guys, talking with them about life, mental health, um, aspirations, what you're going through at home, all of that, they have been my pillar of support during that time frame, and we all support each other for sure. Um, Take a pause real quick. I got to change baby girl's diaper, and let me hit you right back.